My name is العبدالجبار. I've been a consultant for around 4 years now. Started my career as a جيل طموح fellow in the Boston Consulting Group and grew all the way to being a consultant. And it's a pleasure to be here today. So I think the fun part about consulting is that you get to try so many different sectors and so many different problems. But one of my favorite projects is when we were working on a regional strategy, and it was all about social and economic development. So the main problem was we're going to a rural area and we need to assess their competitive advantages and think to ourselves, how can we capitalize on these competitive advantages to turn this rural city into an economic hub, into an industrial hub, into a cultural hub, or even an agricultural hub, based on their strengths, as well as what are the opportunities that exist in the region. And so if I had to walk through the project, usually any project is structured into different work streams or different phases. We start by the baseline to assess what's the current scope or where does the city stand. Then we go ahead and benchmark, okay, so these are the challenges that exist, these are the opportunities that exist. What are other countries doing to get or kind of transform their current cities that we can kind of replicate or adapt to the current context? Then we look at their strategic direction. Okay, so where do we go from there? What approaches do we want to take to get to where we need to go? So after we do this kind of gap analysis, we set the strategic direction, then we go ahead and do the governance, which is kind of the fourth part, as well as the initiatives and the projects that will get us there. So I think that was one of my kind of favorite projects, or a project that I thought added a lot of value to that specific region. And after that, kind of seeing the impact of it or seeing the ads of this specific city, when I'm scrolling through TikTok or I'm going through the street, seeing the impact of it is truly something that I hold near and dear to my heart. So whenever I see the products, the projects coming into fruition, it's always like a very special moment knowing the impact that you created in that region. So in any project, you have a different mix of consultants, partners, project leaders. And so let me go through the top and kind of work my way down. When you look at the partners, they're mainly the people that give you the strategic direction. So where do we need to kind of go from here? And what is kind of the end goal that we want to reach? Then you have the project leaders or the principals, which are the people responsible for the day-to-day managerial role of making sure that we're meeting our milestones. Then you have the associates, senior associates, and consultants, which is the cohort that I'm a part of, where we mainly focus on kind of the content creation, the kind of deep dive into the analyses, and see, okay, so that's the data that exists. How can we make sense of the data? What's the so what of what we're trying to do? So these are the responsibilities on a higher level kind of broken down. But I have to kind of take a closer look at my role, which is a consultant. So usually as a consultant, you have to work through like a lot of ambiguity. And so you kind of get this data dump of information, and your role is to make sense of it. Your role is to kind of create a whole storyline. Okay, what are the insights? What do I need to look at? How do I frame the story? How do I present it to the client? So that's mainly what a consultant does, is kind of take this information, ask the question. So what's the problem? Like frame the problem, ask the right questions and get the right data and provide the closest answer to a right answer to the client.